Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Fragcast, coming at you as usual this Saturday afternoon from Victor von Fragenstein's basement. I am your co-host, Victor von Fragenstein.
And I'm Gapper.
And this is the Nothing in Particular episode, I think. We have our somewhat raging excitement has worn down from E3. We're all in a more calm and flaccid state of mind.
The boners are gone.
The boners are gone, that's right. So now we've had time to kind of sit back and think about stuff and go from there. And to be honest, I haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about the E3 stuff because that kind of is a spike for me.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like, okay, then now we got to sit and wait because there's not going to be any new trailers or anything for a couple weeks or months at least.
We're not going to see anything new and cool for a bit. I haven't even looked to see like what's coming out next that I want to even pick up. I've been too busy just kind of picking up some older stuff on Steam sale.
Well, that being said, I was going to say everyone's wallets are probably still recovering from the recent Steam sale. This was my lowest Steam sale since I really kind of got into the whole PC Master Race thing. I spent $60, and that is like by far. I'm talking like maybe my next least expensive Steam sale was 3 times that.
Yeah, I think I might have spent like $160.
Yeah,
but I picked up like 10 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a lot closer to what I would generally spend in the past. I found that this last year, there hasn't been a whole lot of really standout stuff, and what there was, I already have.
Yeah, and for me, since it's been almost about a year now, fully into the PC Master Race, I've just been kind of picking up things that I had on Xbox, like Final Fantasy 15 I picked up, although I've already beat it on Xbox. I didn't get the DLC or any of the multiplayer content on consoles, so now I have that, and I'm going to play that with some people.
DLC is quite fun on that, and it actually spills into the regular game too. It lets you play. You have to spend, I think it's on the evolution thing, whatever, the leveling up the party abilities. You have to spend for that, but it actually lets you take control of the characters in the main game, in addition to giving them their side stories. Cool. So you want to grab Gladio and start beating the crap out of things with the big sword, you can.
But yeah, no, what else did I pick up? I picked up Alien Isolation.
Yeah, I've heard that one is a really atmospheric horror game.
Yeah.
I have not played it myself because I find the horror games, I don't know, I hate games. I find most horror games have the problem where they make the character less physically capable than I am personally.
Yes.
Now, admittedly, I am probably, for those who don't know, I'm a strength coach and martial arts instructor outside of my podcasting life. So I'm probably a little more physically capable than the average human being. But when it's something like, oh yeah, you're a Marine or a soldier trapped on a planet or something, and it's like this guy is less physically active and capable than I am, I'm like, how the heck did they ever get past basic training to go into space?
Can you fuck up an alien, though?
No, that's true. Not with my bare hands.
No, but
that's just what I find about the genre in general. I don't know about this one in particular. Like I said, I haven't played it, but you're playing a survival horror game, and you're supposed to be playing, say, Special Forces cop, or even if it's just someone who had just done basic astronaut training. Basic astronaut training can run, do a dodge roll, jump, climb over basic obstacles, etc.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm sure they do that in the new Space Force training.
Oh yes, the Space Force. That's going to be something crazy. I mean, we all got to get in on the Space Force.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to. I've always wanted to become a Space Marine. That's kind of been my dream job.
Yeah.
So it's getting closer to reality than I thought it ever would be. So
I mean, I play Space Marines in 40K. I mean, I'm surprised that someone from the U.S. government hasn't given me a call already.
Yeah, you're master strategist now, and then you can just go out and beat the Xenos that we find.
Filthy Xenos. We're going to space to purge.
Yeah, we'll do it for the God Emperor.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't like to get political, but man, did I laugh my ass off when he said that. I mean, with all those God Emperor memes during the election, and now he's actually founding a space force.
Yep.
That is pretty funny.
Don't let your memes be dreams, kids.
Yeah, exactly. They said he was going to make anime real, but no, it's memes that he's making real.
Anime is illegal. He needs to ban anime.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anything recent anyway.
But yeah, what else? I picked up some weird cartoony Bomber Crew game. I haven't played it yet. But it was like $5 and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I got a couple of those where it was just kind of like, yeah, this looks like it's going to be fun, and it's $2, so why not?
Yeah, but no, I've been playing less Siege. Getting back into Siege lately.
Okay, because you had kind of half sworn off Siege for a while.
Oh, not sworn off. I was having a lot of really bad lag problems.
Ah, okay.
And it was just like it makes the game unplayable. So this past, I don't know, 2 weeks I've been playing here and there, and then we actually have like full teams now.
Okay.
One of my console peasant friends has switched over to the master race.
Excellent.
And now we actually have more people than can play for Siege, so it actually like works out really well. We can always usually have a full party.
So that way you're not having to grab randos in and stuff.
Yeah. So last night,
my voice is giving out a little bit.
Yeah, so last night we were just fucking around and we were playing Strat Roulette. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I have not really been into. I've played the game, but I never really got into it too much.
The Strat Roulette is like a website you go to, and then you pick if you're attacking or defending. You pick the mode, and then it tells you what your strategy is going to be.
Okay.
So we got Mother Duck as our first one. So everyone picks shield operators, and then has to follow in a line behind the main shield guy.
Okay.
We got another one that was Blitzkrieg. Everyone picks GSG-9, which is the German Special Forces.
Yeah.
Picks them with shotguns and flashbangs or in grenades.
Yeah.
And then everyone just runs to objective as fast as they can with the shotgun. Yeah. No stopping. Just go in and try to kill everyone. There is bombardment where everyone has to pick operator with grenades. Okay. And everyone throws their grenades just completely bombard the objective site and then run in. We only won one game when we were playing Strat Roulette. There was one John Wayne. Everyone has to be Gigan operators. Okay. You take the revolver, and then you take your shield off, and you have just your revolver. And we didn't win that round, but there was a couple good like headshots from guys that were peeking us.
I was gonna say I'm not surprised you didn't win that round, to be honest.
Yeah, no. I should have had the one Ella character, but she has like a Scorpion SMG with 40 rounds. I guess it has now. Yeah. And I just had a 6-shooter, and I couldn't get her. But no, it was a lot of fun last night. Just fucking around and playing Strat Roulette, and people just like...
Sounds like a fun way to fuck with the game a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fun way to have some fun. And there was one mode we played. It was the floor is lava. So when the round starts, everyone has to vault up on top of something, and if you touch the floor, you got to kill yourself.
Okay, well, not surprised if you don't win that round.
We didn't win that round. It was bomb. They planted it in the objective room that me and my buddy weren't in, so then we just had to wait until the bomb went off.
You can't step through that lava.
No, we can't. So, no, it was a lot of fun. There was one we had. It was called Venus Flytrap. Okay. And the whole thing was everyone picks an operator with barbed wire, and you can only kill players if they're standing in barbed wire. We re-rolled on that one because we're like, that is just fucking stupid. Like, we couldn't.
Yeah, because the floor is lava one was just so logical. And
well, the floor is lava one was fun. Like, the Venus Flytrap one, or there's another one, Wolfpack. We all had to roam together. But yeah, there's a lot of fun ones.
Sounds like there's some fun stuff in there for people who play that.
It's pretty interesting. So yeah, if anyone's ever got I wouldn't do it if you're just like by yourself or with like a couple other people. If you have a full team of friends that are willing to do it.
Yeah, that way you don't get some people who are just like, what the fuck are you assholes doing kind of thing.
Well, in one game, someone else's day. Yeah, there was like 3 guys on the other team that were doing Strat Roulette at one point. But then there's like a couple tryhards that were just like, no, we're playing serious. And
well, that's the problem, is some people want to play it that way, and it's really annoying. I hate to be that guy who would ruin other people's games to fuck around. I remember I played Warcraft 3 back in the day. I was pretty competitive at it. But there was one time I was just playing some random ones, and I kept getting a guy whose name was I Disconnect as my partner, and literally all that would happen is you'd start the match and he'd fucking disconnect. And it was funny, like, the first time, but then I ended up with him, like, 3 times in a row, and I'm just like, motherfucker.
Yeah. I saw a funny screenshot from Overwatch the other day. It's the person's name was System. Yeah. So then it says, System, a member of your party has reported you for harassment. Please press Alt F4 to review the claims. And then it's just like, person whatever's disconnected, person whatever's disconnected, person whatever's disconnected. So who knows if it's real or not, but...
That's pretty funny.
Pretty funny joke to do on people. Yeah. It's just like the good old days of people that would make their name Xbox turn off. Yeah. They would turn their system off.
Yeah, or it'd be some spelling variation of that to get them to say Xbox turn off. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's there's a lot of good trolls out there that you can do.
Yeah, if you're really interested in it, there's a lot of online casinos. I've seen these videos where You play them, but it's a virtual casino, so it's not like the ones where it's just like a computer screen. There's actually a dealer on webcam who you can see physically dealing with cards.
I've seen that on Twitch.
Yeah. And so, but what happens is that most of them are not English first language speakers. So you see a lot of people on YouTube, and you can check these out, and anyone listening can check it out on YouTube. There's videos where people go in with names that'll be like Sook Mike Hawk. And they'll come in, and the guy will just be like, "Hello, Suck Mike Hawk." And, then some of them will catch on and be like, "Oh, what did I just say?" But then other ones who, like, blatantly, it's like, English is their fourth language or something, they just have no idea what they just said. Wow. So it's pretty funny. And there's a ton of different variations and stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The odd one will pop up and see it, and he'll be like, "Hello," and I'm just like, "I'm not saying it."
Yeah,
nope. Most of them get through it before they realize what they've done.
Yeah, so let's talk about this game that I found. So I got a new phone. I've been browsing the App Store.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about
let's
mobile
get into maybe I don't know if it came out this year. And who knows what year it came out, but it's probably going to be my game of the year.
But you found it recently.
I found it this morning. I found it this morning. It's called Magikarp Jump.
Magikarp Jump.
And
so it's Pokemon, that juggernaut of a franchise.
Pokemon, it's probably one of the best Pokemon games ever. You catch a Magikarp.
Oh, that's a lot of Pokemon games have catching Magikarp.
You catch it, the Magikarp, and then you get it to swim around and eat berries that are in the little pond that you have for it.
That's what I do with my fish. I throw berries into it.
Throw berries in it. I know fish
tank.
really like to eat weird berries.
Yeah. You see a koi pond at the Mandarin or a Chinese restaurant, you just throw berries into it, and they're all happy
and
fish.
Then they're going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And then they're going to start... Here's where it gets crazy.
Okay.
They're going to start hitting the gym, those Magikarp, okay?
Well, they got to get some magic games.
They're going to start doing jump counters. They're going to start doing heavy bag. And then I just got one where they're trying to move some, like, crawfish-looking Pokemon. And, you're going to level up. And then you're going to bring them out, and you're going to jump against other Pokemon and see whose Magikarp can jump higher.
There we go.
And then, once you get max level, you just gotta go until you lose, and then you retire Magikarp, and then you do it all over again. Until you get a random encounter where you're like, "Hey, do you want to try to jump up on this tree and get the berry?" Yeah, sure. So I did it one time, fine. Next time I did it, Pidgeotto comes swooping by, boom, Magikarp gone, retirement, forced retirement, never to be seen again.
That's the end of that Magikarp.
Now I gotta start a new Magikarp.
There you go.
Great gameplay cycle. Definitely very intuitive and very fun. You're very interactive. You got some taps in there. Yeah, you tap a little bit of stuff, like you click the berries, and then you just click skip a lot because it's like wait a lot. It's really solid game. Definitely would recommend. It was the editor's choice on the Android App Store.
It sounds like they really appreciate innovation and breaking the mold.
Yes. So this game, it's I don't know why Pokemon Go is bigger than this game. I
don't know either. I mean, it's like you can't because in Pokemon Go, I think you can find a Magikarp, but you can't make it hit a heavy bag.
No, you're not hitting heavy bags with your Magikarp. Your Magikarp's not jumping.
Yeah.
All you're going to do is just collect 400 candies and turn into a Gyarados. Like, what's the fun in that?
Yeah.
So, I think I'm going to uninstall Pokemon Go, even though I've been having a lot of fun with that lately, and just exclusively play.
Yeah, because I saw some of the graphics in that, and it seems like you got to clear your whole hard drive to fit such majesty on your phone.
Like this bad boy here has a lot of gigs in it, but it's pretty full now.
Got to get all those gigs full of Magikarp.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got my backup. You got to back it up. If you get this game, back it up.
Back it up, okay.
So then if you lose it, you don't lose all your progress.
Yeah. And then back up an image of the drive to back it up so you can only use half
You're probably
going to
you're going to have to probably use two phones to be able to play it. One just for storage.
One for storage.
And then one to actually play
all those gigs of carp. Well, I suspect if you retire enough carp, it'll fill up several phones.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a very big concern. People were complaining about it in the reviews. Like, I have 8 phones now because of this game. Like, I can't stop playing it, obviously.
Yeah. And I got to have all of them hooked together some way. Like,
the gameplay cycle is just too good.
Yeah.
Of training, feeding, jumping.
Yeah, those and it's so exciting too. There's probably like 20 taps involved in that whole cycle. So, yeah.
See, BattleTech.
Yes, BattleTech.
You just buy that, or?
No, I actually had it. This is actually a little aside note, but a warning for Steam fans. If your Steam directory, where you store your games, is not the same directory, which this program Steam is installed on, one of the latest Steam updates will be a total asshole, and this was a while ago and I didn't notice it till now, switches it back to the default directory on the C drive. So what happened is for my PC, I have two solid state drives. I have one which is just for the operating system and things that have to be on the same drive as the operating system. And I have a second solid state drive for my Steam, well, all my games basically.
Yeah, may as well.
What happened was sometime back, and I guess it would have to, because I got BattleTech when it came out because I kickstarted it, so it's a couple of months now. Steam updated and switched the directory that the games were going into back to the Steam folder on the C drive. So actually, I was on my on earlier today, and I was looking at my hard drive, and it's like, oh, you've only got 20 gigabytes left on the C drive. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with that? That's not right. So I look through it, and of course, it takes a while to figure out where exactly the space is being eaten up. And then it's like by the Steam. And I'm like, why is Steam eating it up? And I go to the Steam apps, and frickin' BattleTech and Final Fantasy 15 in there, which take up 120 gigs between them, are sitting in that directory. And I'm like, what the fuck are those doing there? So then I go into Steam, and it's like, oh, it's not going to the X drive anymore, it's going to the C drive. So yeah, if you haven't checked recently, and you are on a setup like mine where your operating system drive is not the same as the drive you use for your Steam games, take a look at what the Steam directory is going to, because mine was filling up my my operating system drive. But that aside, that may as well segue into that. So what I was actually kind of figuring to talk a little bit about today, because we don't really have so much in games, because again, after E3, it's usually just playing catch-up, because there's usually a kind of dearth of releases from now until September or October, is kind of, maybe let's talk about genres we like. So for me, since we're in BattleTech, probably my favorite genre of all time is the tactical turn-based RPG. Some kind of game with a battle map on it, where you are moving units, preferably some way customizable around, fighting either AI guys or multiplayer guys online. When I play multiplayer games, it's my preferred multiplayer style of game right now as well. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And BattleTech, I highly, highly recommend. I kickstarted this a while back because it's by Harebrained Schemes, I think is the name of the company. They did all the Shadowrun remakes.
I have those. I haven't played them yet.
Okay, you get into them. They're great. Fun story. They're not long for an RPG. I think they're maybe 10, 15 hours each a piece, which for RPGs is pretty short.
Yeah.
But very deep mechanically wise. So that's why I kickstarted BattleTech, because I'm like, oh, they're basically just making the same game with mechs, which is almost what they did. A few things have changed for the story, but same idea. Very deep, very customizable. You can play the kind of mech you want to play. You want to have a big, heavy tank mech that can barely move but has all the missiles. You can bring that. You want to have a guy with some, little lasers, and he kind of hides around corners and snipes guys. You can do that. You want to have autocannons and machine guns. You do that sort of thing. You kind of play it how you want. And you can have more than one and hire extra pilots. You say, oh, I really feel like bringing 4 big fucking tank mechs this time. I'm going to do that. I haven't gotten that deep into the story yet. So I don't know how deep that is. The Shadowrun games do have a really good story for that. But yeah, I do highly recommend, if you're into that sort of thing, get into that. And for Shadowrun, definitely. The Shadowrun games are only loosely connected. Although they all are in the same universe, it's not like the same group of characters, which is kind of funny because you create a custom character and you can use the same portraits in each one. So I actually just made the same character in terms of how they look in all 3.
Right.
But it also doesn't sort of work because they're supposed to be happening. Some of the events happen simultaneously, at different places on the planet. So apparently this person's just fucking zipping around the globe.
Teleportation.
Yeah. Well, which is not that weird. Shadowrun universe is weird.
There's lots of weird magic, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like.
Is Shadow? What was that one game? It was on Xbox 360 and PC, and it was crossplay, and it was a big deal. That was Shadowrun, wasn't it? Or it was some sort of. It might have been called Shadowrun, but I don't think it doesn't look the same as those Shadowrun games on Steam.
Don't know. I don't know, honestly, if that was or not. Shadowrun is one of those things. They're not as bad as Games Workshop with it, but they don't, it's all licensed out to different things. Right. It's not, they're making their own games. So I honestly don't know. But for those, it's a combination of cyberpunk and J.R.R. Tolkien fantasy. So There's the Matrix type stuff where you can jack into a virtual world and fight your way through. Well, you just read. You said you were reading Neuromancer.
Yeah,
right.
I'm still working on that.
But the web in Shadowrun is basically ripped off entirely from Neuromancer. They even call it ice and all the other stuff. So that's you definitely recognize that part of it. But then you've got like your hacker could be an elf, and your tank could be an orc. And there are dragons who run mega corporations that basically own the world.
Okay, that does sound like that. The game, it was a shooter, cross-platform.
Yeah,
it had like.
I think there was a Shadowrun shooter. Yeah, that wouldn't have been the Harebrained Schemes one though. They've just done the tactical ones. So, but yeah, it's a cool universe. Very gritty. It's kind of a more serious gritty. So. We were talking a little bit of 40K earlier. Like, that's more kind of over-the-top, ridiculous, gritty, dark thing. Shadowrun is, with the exception of the orcs and elves and magic and stuff, the technological stuff and the whole corporations have taken over the Earth stuff isn't so far unrealistic.
Yes.
It's kind of a little closer to reality. Though, of course, with this whole Space Force, I mean, maybe we are getting closer to Warhammer. Who knows?
It can always happen. We'll just have to... Once we start having a foundry on Mars, then we know...
Yeah, if they start a foundry on Mars, we have to prepare for the Great Crusade.
Yes.
And then the following Dark Age of humanity.
We must not traverse the warp.
No, we must not be seduced by the temptations of the warp.
Yeah. But yeah, so I enjoy that genre, but so I feel a lot of times I'm like, I just get into I save scum too much in those genres.
That's fair.
Because I just don't want to have to redo all the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that and that's a fair enough. Good ones, there's two ways to do it. Good ones, I find the battles are short enough in any given map that I won't feel too bad having to do it twice.
That was like Mario Battle Kingdoms.
Yeah.
If I lost, I was like, okay, I'll start from the start and do good. But
jump right back.
Some of the ones in XCOM where it's like you're just so long in the mission, I'm like, God damn it! Like I don't want to have to do this all again and try to not. And that's not the point of the game to reload and not die. But it's like, okay, but if I die here, I'm basically I've lost the game.
Yeah.
Let's just instead of going back from the start.
Yeah. Well, why don't we talk XCOM a little bit? Because I love XCOM. I've played since the original UFO Enemy Unknown, and part of the reason why the new ones have some of this hardcore stuff in them, which I really wish you could turn off to a larger degree, is because the old one was ridiculous. Anyone could die at any time. You could have a super soldier that took you 6 months of real life playing to get superpowered, die from one pistol from a mind-controlled civilian or something. So that was really where a lot of the hardcore stuff in the new one comes. What I think there's a division of fans, right? You got people who love the hardcore elements. Yeah, anyone can die. All this elite soldier I worked on for 6 months can just bite the dust and all this stuff. Maybe not 6 real months, but in game and stuff. But there's also the fact is that even without that, it's just a really solid tactical game.
Yes.
And that to me is what attracts me. I don't like the hardcore stuff not because I don't like a challenge, but because this is not the 1990s when there were 5 or 6 great games every year to play. You know what I mean? There's going to be 20 good games in any given year, maybe even 30 or 40 if you start counting smaller games, indie games, etc. So I don't have time to invest 300 hours in a game and then have that not be beating the game. You know what I mean? I don't mind games that take a longer time to beat, and there are some games, I'm a Dwarf Fortress addict a little bit, which is masochistic to the top, but you go into it, there's no win state. You can't win. It's just you play it for as long as you're going to play for. But, so I don't have the time to invest in games like that. And I think a lot of people are like that. Even when I was younger, you say, oh yeah, I've got one game and I'm just going to play the shit out of it for 3 weeks because I can't afford any other games.
Well, and a kid, you have a lot more free time to play the games.
Exactly. And, on top of that, it's you don't have, even if there are other games you want to play, you don't necessarily have the income to go get them, right? Now, unless I'm doing something stupid, like buying every $90 expansion game and expansion pass when it comes out, I can probably reasonably buy any game I want to. And I don't want to say, you know what, this game's... unless it's like really, really amazing. You know, again, I've probably dumped a ridiculous amount of hours into Skyrim and various other Elder Scrolls games. And the good Fallouts, not so much for... But, you know, I don't have time to do that. So I like the tactical gameplay of XCOM. But I don't like the, you done fucked up.
Yeah.
So I understand the save scumming thing, you know what I mean? A lot of the older games, the reason why you couldn't save, and a lot of the hardcore elements were actually because of technical limitations. Because the way technology was, you couldn't save in the middle of a battle. You know what I mean? So that if you did well in the first half, you couldn't save halfway through and hope you didn't fuck up the second half. Nowadays, there's not really an excuse. You know what I mean? It's like RPGs and stuff that have save points, right?
Yeah.
You can't save in the dungeon.
Well, yeah.
You can only save in the world map.
Nier has that, where
Right.
it's save points.
Well, and Nier, again, that's a throwback. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
But I love that game.
Oh, I love the game,
I still
too.
need to do one more playthrough, but...
Yeah. But that is a very fun game, and pretty deep when you actually pay attention to the story.
Oh, yeah.
Like it is a surprisingly, like you play it and it's like this kind of arcadey popcorn action. Now it's a shooter game. Now it's a beat 'em up game like Devil May Cry, and then it's like this kind of deep story about like artificial intelligence and stuff.
Yeah, you start like being like, oh, like these machines are like kind of sentient a little bit.
Yeah, like they're not just really machines. Are they? You know, what does it mean to be a machine and to be a man? So.
No, it's.
Well, they kind of went with a sledgehammer with that debate. I mean, the main character's name is To Be, right? So, you know, to be or not to be. But, yeah, no, that was enjoyable. But anyway, getting back to the kind of technical stuff. So, I don't think nowadays it should be purposeful that you can't save games. I mean, maybe not in the middle of a boss fight, because, you know, the game can't figure out exactly where everything is. But, like, I shouldn't have to play 3 hours in between save points. I should say, you know what, I want to get up in the morning. I say half an hour. Okay, I've got to work for an hour. You know, I work on a client basis, so it's like I got to work for an hour. I can come back and play for 45 minutes, and then I have someone else coming in. If I can't stop, I mean, as long as it's not like Dark Souls where you can't even pause the game, but that's fine. I can always pause it. But there should be that option, and then it should be really easy. Give certain achievements and stuff if you play it on hardcore. For the people who want that challenge to say, you know what, I played through this game with no save points without dying. I, you know, put in an Iron Man mode where you get only one save and it's deleted if you die. Put in an option that, okay, on easy mode you can save wherever you want. On you know, medium, okay, you can only save in the world map. On hard, there's only pre-selected save points every 3 hours. You know, on Iron Man, you just have to fucking leave your computer running for a day and finish it. You know, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But, you know, or have one of those ones where it's an auto-save and you can't manually save. I'm okay with that. But unless that's integral to the play of the game, I actually think that ought to be left out. Because the people who want to play hardcore will play hardcore, and the people who don't want to play hardcore won't play hardcore. You know, don't make the game stupid easy unless that's, you know, your goal, because sometimes the enjoyment of the game isn't a challenge, like Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, like I've been playing Dark Souls Remastered the last couple weeks, and like I got farther than I did in the original game, and now I'm off to kind of fight the like 4 big bosses. And I'm having a lot of fun with it.
What are the ones in the original? Is it the kings of whatever?
There's
like the Fire King and the Old Iron King or whatever. Or is that the second one?
There's Nito, who's like the Grave Lord. He's like the king of the skeletons. There was I don't even remember them all.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, it's been a while since I played that.
Attention. I just go kill things.
Yeah. But that game you can't make easy, right?
The
nature of the game...
That's what that game is.
The nature of the game is that it's hard, right? But there's some games, again, like XCOM. There's no reason not to be able to save in the middle of a mission during XCOM, right? Because when the turns are paused, the game can just save everything where it is. And just have a difficulty. Be like, on medium or higher, you can't do that. On hard or higher, it's really easy to adjust it for players. And for convenience, just because, again, I don't like... I used to play roguelikes where, if your guy died, he died.
Yeah.
Right? And that was fine. Again, in a game where that's the objective, is to go through one run with one character. But at the same time, that was also the joy of the game. The game itself, if you took it, a lot of the old roguelikes, some of the classic ones like NetHack and stuff, if you just took the game itself, this is a really shitty randomized RPG, right? But the challenge was, I want to go through the game in one guy, and if he dies, he dies, right? But the, when you've got a game like XCOM, where again, the game itself is really good. It doesn't rely on that to make it good. And if you enjoy that bit of a challenge, and again, if I had the time, I would enjoy that bit of a challenge. I really enjoyed the original XCOMs, where guys died like fucking flies. Your basic soldier was one of the cheapest resources you could buy. Like, you'd be expected to keep a good 15 to 20 extra ones just sitting at your base, because the attrition rate of your main guys would be so high.
Yeah. For genres for me, I pretty much grew up on shooters.
Yeah.
And, like, pretty much just Final Fantasy and some other random JRPGs.
So kind of the classic turn-based RPG, not the tactical, but the regular.
Just the turn-based. I really like the turn-based RPGs. So that's why in Final Fantasy 15 I was a little like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this new battle mode, but I enjoy it.
I enjoy it. Well, let's talk Final Fantasy 15 a few minutes. First thing I'll know, did you know it wasn't supposed to be Final Fantasy 15? No. So that's why it's an action-based game. So what had happened was, Final Fantasy 13, I don't know why they made 2 sequels to that game, because it didn't sell that great for them. It was not a very good game, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 13, 2, and 3, I tried, did not enjoy either of them. Neither of them are anything like the first one. So unlike Final Fantasy X2, which was very similar to Final Fantasy X, 13.2 and 13.3 were actually completely different types of games. Oh yeah,
I beat 10 and I started playing. I'm like, what the fuck is this garbage?
Well,
and I stopped.
It was an afterthought because they were just like, holy shit, this game sold a lot of copies. We better do another one. But that aside, X2's nowhere near as good as 10. But that aside, 15 was actually originally called Final Fantasy 13 Versus, and it was meant to be set in that universe, and that's why it has an action-based system, because it was not meant to be a main series game. It was meant to be a spin-off. But then I guess what had happened was 13, there was some financial things for it. 15 apparently actually saved the series. Had it not been as successful as it was, they would have dropped Final Fantasy from their mainline things, which is interesting given the history of that. Little history lessons. You know why Final Fantasy is called Final Fantasy?
No.
Because Squaresoft, before it became Square Enix, was going out of business. Final Fantasy was made while they were preparing to go bankrupt. It was just like, okay, we're going to pay our developers to finish this game. And so that was just the name of it. It was a fantasy game, and it was going to be their last game. So it was Final Fantasy. And it sold enough not only to, keep them afloat, but now they have their own freaking conference at E3.
Yeah.
So that's actually how that happened. And interestingly enough, Final Fantasy 15 did the same thing. They weren't going to go bankrupt, mind you. I mean, Square Enix isn't in danger of going bankrupt anytime soon. But they were going to drop Final Fantasy. But there's been a couple interviews that said, it sold a ridiculous amount. Apparently, even though it had like a 5-year and something stupid like a $60 million development time, apparently it made that back in like release week.
Wow.
And that was even before it was on PC. And now, they've pushed a couple 100,000 copies on PC. But yeah, so it's different. For those of you who love Final Fantasy and haven't played 15, it does not play... The gameplay is not like a Final Fantasy game. And the story is very much like a Final Fantasy game. Except for the fact that some guy decided to make the theme of this Final Fantasy a road trip.
It's a road trip for your wedding.
Yes. Which continues even when it switches to the save the empire from the evil empire. You're still on a road trip.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous.
It is. Some of the stuff they're just casually doing. Like, you're supposed to go meet the, what's his name, Core, the guy. Like, he's got vital information about the empire. And then you'll pull into a place and say, so, anyone fancy some burgers and fries?
Yeah.
Or was it the Crow's Nest?
Oh, just cooking food. Or like my favorite was the cup noodle quest.
Yes, there's actually a quest in the game, for those who don't know.
Hey, what's your favorite topping on cup noodles?
Cup noodle. There's actually 2. There's the first one, which is just to acquire cup noodles the first time.
Yes.
And then when you come back to town the next time, you have to do a quest where there's actually a unique monster, 3 of them, because there's one for each topping, whose purpose is you have to kill it and bring its meat back to make your custom special cup noodles.
Yeah, I went for shrimp.
Yeah, of course, you can't go for anything but shrimp on ramen noodles. That's the best thing. But, but it's pretty ridiculous. And just some of the way they casually talk about, like, doing photo ops and stuff, when really they're, like, should be racing against the clock to rescue somebody and stuff, is a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
but,
no, you never really feel like, oh yeah, I should probably go save my kingdom because I'm the prince of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my father's been murdered, my main city has been, like, reduced to ruins, but you're just kind of like,
Oh,
this
hey,
guy...
we gotta go get a wedding dress.
Yeah, we gotta go get the wedding dress, and, just some of the stuff, like, it's like, you'll be like, oh yeah, we're supposed to meet so-and-so, he's got information about this base we're supposed to break into, and then some guy's like, by the way, would you mind climbing this mountain and taking a picture from the top?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, okay.
Hey,
sure.
I'm a researcher, and I'm looking for frogs. Can you get me some frogs?
Get me some frogs.
Yeah.
Even by JRPG standards, the side quests and stuff that you're doing while you should be doing something a little more important or pretty stuff. I probably dedicated 10 hours in that game to finding parts to customize my sports car, and
getting the flying sports car was hilarious.
I haven't got the flying one yet.
I got the flying, and man, like a lot of game overs. That thing does not fly well.
Does not fly. You just fly off the map and die.
Oh no, like landing. Like you hit a lamppost on takeoff and you're dead.
Oh, okay.
Like landing it is just next to impossible.
Okay, so it's not like the off-road one where you jack it up to be a monster truck and then just run over everything.
No. It's like
that's what I'm cruising around in right now.
No. I'll be able to get my purple Twitch Chocobo for having Twitch Prime.
Oh yes,
PC.
yes, the special Chocobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we're on our way. We have to get a boat to get to save the princess that you're supposed to marry. And then the guy's like, by the way, let's stop and race some Chocobos. It's like, I really want to ride a Chocobo.
I want a Chocobo. But yeah, no, the game is hilarious. I think I might play it when I get home.
It is actually, though, the characters are voiced and the writing is dead on. Like, it's quite funny and enjoyable at the same time. And if you like a kind of action RPG, it actually does that really well. Just be prepared to teleport a lot.
I think my games that I'm going to be playing for the next little bit will be Dark Souls 1. I want to finish that. Probably get Final Fantasy 15 in the rotation, and then Siege.
Yeah,
those are going to be my three I want to spend the most time on.
There you go. Well, right now I'm looking at, I want to finish Final Fantasy 15. I'm actually going through the story. I got to level 76 out of 100 just doing side quests before really getting I got into the main story just enough to unlock the whole map. And then I just did side quest. And the only reason I stopped doing side quests is because I now had to get on the boat to continue doing side quests. So I'm like, I may as well do the story now. Because I found out I guess you can keep doing all the side quests after the story is done. So, so I'm going to play that. Battletech, now that it's reinstalled on the proper fucking drive and all 30 gigabytes. I'm not even going to reinstall Final Fantasy 15 because it's 100 gigabytes almost.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to finish that because I'm getting close to... Now that I can breeze through all the storyline enemies, I'm just going to go through that and finish that. And then Battletech. And then just some of the dumb Steam games I picked up.
Yeah, I kind of want to try out that Bomber Crew game that I got. It looks it's kind of like kiddie looking, kind of like cartoony game. Yeah. But it actually kind of seems cool. It almost looks like FTL, but you're like a bomber crew in World War II.
Okay.
So I might give that a go.
I had way more fun with FTL than I should have. That game was so... I mean, I just killed so many things by starving them of oxygen.
Yeah.
Just destroy their oxygen.
That was a good game. Did you get Into the Breach?
Into the Breach.
It's they made another game. It's
it's like a little tactical mech.
Tactical game.
I haven't
There's
gotten
like a mech,
into
tank,
that.
and artillery.
Yeah.
A few other things, and you fight a bunch of like kaiju and stuff.
I haven't gotten into that one yet. I have seen it. I think I looked at it and I thought that the price they were asking for it was not justified by... Because, like, FTL had...
That game is tough.
Yeah. FTL had minimalist graphics, but not bad graphics. To be honest, that Into the Breach looks like garbage.
Yeah, it doesn't look the greatest, but it's fun. It's a fun
I guarantee I'll play it sooner or later.
Yeah.
That's one that, much like FTL, I'm probably going to wait when it pops up in a Humble Bundle. I'm going to hop on there and grab it. It's one of those games, too, again, that I'm, right now I'm actually kind of working on it. I want to clear games that I haven't cleared.
Yeah.
As opposed to get into other games that I'm probably not going to clear or that don't really have a clear... you may beat it, but you still have to play it 60 more times. Because FTL was like that.
I really should just, See, I don't want to, like, I can't really sit and just play games for that much longer anymore.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've been having, like, my back's been sore.
Yeah.
So I can't just, like, sit. I'm pretty sure Nier broke my back.
Nier broke your back?
Yeah. Like, I was sitting playing, like, 36 hours of Nier in, like, a 2-day stretch. I'm pretty sure that really didn't help. But I really need to finish Nier. I really want to finish that, so maybe I'll put that on the list. But I don't know. I feel like I don't have as much time anymore to play games as I used to.
Well, you should get one of these chairs that I got. Maybe that'll help your back.
I bought a new chair.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that Vertigear one.
Oh, okay.
The Trigger 350.
Okay.
But it's pretty comfortable. It's a mesh chair.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've never actually. I've sat in them. I've never owned one.
Yeah, like it's probably not as cushiony as this, but it's very very adjustable. Yeah. And
for those who can't see and aren't aware, Lazy Boy makes office chairs, and that's actually what I'm sitting in right now. It is like this big Lazy Boy chair, and it reclines and everything. If I pull a little switch on it, but it's got an office chair roll.
You know what I'd love is a stand-up desk. I think that would be kind of fun to try. Yeah. But I feel like that would wear off pretty quick.
Well, get one of those adjustable ones then.
Yeah.
And that way, if you don't want to stand up on it, it comes down to a normal desk.
One of the people I work with, they have a stand-up desk. They just got one in this week, and I was like, ooh, this would be pretty good for PC gaming.
Yeah.
Just hopefully not knock my monitor off when I'm adjusting the...
Yeah, I was going to say, you may want to affix your monitor fairly firmly to that if you're going to do that. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it with this one because I've got all my regular office stuff in it too. But
I have miniatures and so much junk on my table like right now. Like my computer desk is a mess. I have all my Tau and some of my Gatorman on my desk and just a bunch of random crap and a little totem that I bought when I was in Alaska and... Yeah, no, it's. I need to clean up my gaming space.
The gaming space needs some cleanup.
Yeah, my mouse pad's like covered. Like I have one of those huge mouse pads.
Yeah.
And it's just like covered in like I can only use half of it right now.
Nice.
But I don't even really need to use that other half. But yeah, no, Siege has been going pretty good. Getting back into it, and Ubisoft got me. They got me with the microtransactions.
Oh!
During the Steam sale, they had a sale on some of the skins. So I bought
so you have a few skins.
I bought the Bushido skin for Blitz. So he's got like a cool like samurai headgear, like real badass headgear, and then his shield looks a lot cooler.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted that one. So that was on sale. So I picked that up. And then they have like their summer premium packs, like they did for Outbreak. I've told you about those, where it's like a collection. There's only so many, so there's 12. So the one guy I play, Legion on defense, he normally has his little like poison, like spike in his mouth. Okay. So he's got one now. He's got a popsicle stick and he's wearing sunglasses, and it was like his tactical helmet. And I'm like, oh man, I really want that. So I bought packs until I got that. But yeah, I've always wanted a good skin for Legion since he's like my main guy I play on defense. So I finally was able to get a skin that I'm actually happy with for him on. But I don't know. I'm happy to support that game.
I do have to get into that because you've talked it up a lot, and this is one of the very few points in my life actually where I haven't had a first person shooter that I play. Like I'm not an FPS guy, but since PlayStation went online. So basically, I know PlayStation 2 was online, but there was no other first-person shooter on it. PlayStation 3, I have always had a first-person shooter that I was playing off and on. So I think, back then it was more like the Call of Duty and Battlefield games, and then, I went to PlanetSide on PC and stuff. And I don't have one right now, so I may get into that, because sometimes you just want to go and shoot something, So I want to shoot somebody in the face.
Siege is really good for that. Starting that game out, like when I first started, I'm like, I hate this game. This game, like, because the time to kill is very fast.
Yes.
If you're playing against someone that knows the map and you don't,
you're fucked.
Like you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because the map is when we're playing with a lot of guys in our team lately that don't know the map.
Yeah.
So there's like a few, maybe 2 or 3 of us on the team that really know the maps.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, "Oh, can you go open that?" And like half the guys are like, "Where's that? What's that?" And my one will be like, "No, Gapper knows where that is." Like, he'll go open that. And like, cause some of the maps, once we started getting into it and playing more ranked and seeing how the maps worked and watching Pro League, like if you ever want to watch the game, I'd highly recommend watching Pro League because like they make it look so crazy.
Yeah.
Because like they'll just kind of bash out a little spot for a door and like watching like through a floor, through a doorway, down somewhere else. It's really fun to watch because you really got to open the maps up and really use the destruction of the walls to to open up. Say you have 2 bomb sites, you want to open it up so you can kind of see both, so you don't get stuck in one, and you don't want to have like a funnel of death coming through. Like there's some where you don't want to reinforce the whole room because then there's only one way in, and if they take it, you'll never get back in.
Yeah.
So you really got to learn the map. You really got to know what to reinforce, what to not reinforce, what to blow open, what to leave just non-reinforced, and where to put your traps. Like the guy I play the most, Legion, he throws in little poison goo mines.
Yeah.
And you step on them, they start poisoning you. I actually killed the guy in rank play with him last
Nice.
night. He was the last guy left in the team. It was 1-on-1, and then I just heard a and then died.
Nice.
Just from the goo. He just died from the poison. Like you can pull it out, but he didn't stop to pull it out because my buddy was like watching. I don't know. I think the guy was just an idiot. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So I always like playing him because I'm always trying to think like, okay, if I'm attacking this objective, where am I going to attack from? Where am I going to stand? Okay, I'm going to throw a goo there. So when they come around the corner to kind of aim in, then boom,
And step in the goo.
Step in the goo, take a little damage, and then they have to either stand in the open and pull it out, or fall back, take a little more damage, and then pull the thing out of their ankle.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very tactical game. But yeah, if you ever want to jump in and play, we can always have a whole bunch of people, and our group is a lot less toxic than it used to be.
Okay.
We got one of the guys that we play with, he kind of has left the group.
Okay.
So it's a lot more fun now. Like, we play the game to have fun now, and not be super tryhards.
Well, I'll warn you, I'm a little bit of an asshole on group games. I never rip on people, like on my own team. But my rants when I get pissed off at a game are pretty fucking legendary.
Yes, yeah, you've said.
So people, this was going back more Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is so frustrating sometimes, right? Because it's not a tactical game. It's fucking, you ran onto the map and a grenade fell on your head, or you're going this way and your teammates should be following you, but then they for no reason branch off on some random thing. So I tend to go ballistic when I'm playing really well and I get fucked by something random. I don't mind getting fucked by a better player. I love being beat by someone who's good, so I can say, hey, the fuck did he do that I can figure out to do next time, kind of thing. But yeah, so this kind of game sounds like more my kind of thing, but I do swear a lot.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I will
Oh, like we chirp each other all the time. Like last night in one of our games, our first ranked game we were playing, I was carrying pretty hard, but the next game I got carried pretty hard and I was doing bad. But there's 2 guys in our team, we called them the Donut Squad because they both had 0 kills.
The Donut Squad.
And we're like, come on, Donut Squad, like pick it up. So then I got to 10 kills, and I was like, one of the guys in the Donut Squad still had 0 kills. I'm like, hey, at least we both have a 0 in our kill count now. And then I think he eventually ended up getting it. But we have such a amount of people that play now. We're like, yeah, bottom person gets kicked, and we bring in the next person. But we never did end up doing that. But
nice.
Just to try to make everyone play a little harder.
There you go. It sounds like fun. I'll have to get
It's a fun game. Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm going to suck for probably the first 2 weeks I play it until I figure out how the game works. But
yeah, no, definitely check out some Pro League. It's really fun to watch. I was watching some last night before I went to bed, and watching those guys play, it's just like, wow. I don't even feel like I'm playing the same game.
Yeah,
it's just on such another level.
Well, a lot of times you're not, right? Because there's a difference. There's a difference between playing for fun and playing 100% to win. Mm-hmm. I've noticed it a lot. I've been playing some Dragon Ball FighterZ again. They released a new character, Vegito. And so I've been playing a little more in that. And first of all, their matchmaking system is fucking god-awful. So that's part of the problem. If you ever play on World Ranked, you're going to get flattened, or you're going to flatten the other guy. But like the way you play to have fun, it's like I want to do cool shit in that game. You know what I mean? I pick my characters not based on how effective they are, but like these are guys I fucking like, even though it makes no sense for Broly to be hanging out with Piccolo. But that's what I play. But then we get going on these things where I'll be like, okay, I'll try a ranked match. And like, I don't want to do ranked match, but I got to try one every now and again. And some guy will just shit all over me. But I'll just watch, and I'll just be like, a fighting game at its essence, right, is you're memorizing a series of actions, right? Mm-hmm. But when you see, like, I'll fight someone and they'll literally just do the same thing every time, and I'm just like, that would not be fun to me. And that's the one thing where I know there is a lot of depth to the Dragon Ball FighterZ system, but like all the combos that work are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And so, just like, I made a mistake first, so he hits me with this 20-hit combo. He made a mistake, so I do like an 8-hit combo and I do something cool. And then, you know what I mean? So, there's a difference in playing. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to play hard. if you're a super try-hard and maybe you really suck, but you're trying to play super hard, then maybe you should relax a little bit. There's nothing wrong with playing hard. But, I've played hard at other games, I don't know if I ever told you this. Did I ever tell you about StarCraft way back in the day? I was 11th on the world ladder at one point. Before anyone thinks this makes me some kind of king shit, this was like right when it came out, and most people didn't have internet in their home, and most kids couldn't spend.
There was 12 people online at the time. Okay?
Yeah, okay, it maybe wasn't that, but really it was the kind of, we'll call it the Ronda Rousey effect for those who are not familiar with the UFC, in that I beat on not necessarily meaningful competition when there were only a few good people, and then as soon as good people started playing, I realized I wasn't really as good as I thought I was. So, I made it close to the top and then fell down. And then there was like 2 years after that, someone's like, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to be super competitive at that. And he's like, yeah, I play with some pros sometimes, I do all right. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. This should be a good chance. Like, I just fucking shit stomped me. Just absolutely, I'm sure my clicks per minute was 100 below what it needed to be and all this other stuff. It's like, when I played, you didn't know what your fucking clicks per minute were.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Or actions per minute, whatever they call it. Yeah. So, but anyway.
Yeah, so you were talking about getting a shooter, and I found lately that I am starting to play shooters less and less. Like, there's not a lot of shooters I want to play.
I will say I have certainly played less and less. I'd say shooters used to take up probably about half my total gaming time, and the rest of that was mostly RPGs with the odd, standout game of another genre thrown in. Nowadays, though, I'd say the kind of tactical RPG, because there's so many good ones out there, takes up probably the majority of the time. Shooters have probably dropped to about a quarter of my gaming time, I'd say. Yeah. There's not many. The problem is that I think we've reached the point where there's a bit of a divide. So we've got your big AAA titles and your indie games, but the problem is all the AAA titles, for the most part, are less optimized about gameplay and more optimized about gameplay that directs you towards microtransactions.
Yes.
And people are, there's been a revolt, right? Like, even EA even acknowledged it, right?
Like, Overwatch is basically just, like, play the game to get skins.
Yes.
I really don't enjoy the hero shooter genre right now.
I've never been a huge fan of it.
I really enjoyed Battleborn. I loved Battleborn because it was more shooter MOBA-y rather than just like arena objective based shooter like it is in Overwatch. And I really wish Battleborn did better, but it tried to go against Overwatch, and Blizzard's gonna beat Gearbox any day.
Well, here's the thing, people.
But I still think Battleborn's a better game.
I agree, but I understand the appeal of Overwatch, because Overwatch lets retards do good every once in a while. No, that's like seriously. Like, you can be the worst person on Earth and main Honzo, and you're still gonna.
But every once in a while, you power up and you get that one button, and then you feel like a cool dude, and you're like, wow, like I'm really good, and then like you get better, but.
Well, it's like Mario Kart with racing, right? It's there specifically for kind of the spectacle factor, where people who are not great at the game will occasionally be made to think they are great at the game.
Yeah.
Battleborn, I liked it. I actually didn't like the multiplayer that much. I actually really enjoyed. I love, for the most part, they're not always a hit, but I like Gearbox's kind of sense of humor.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the single player aspect of it, and it's kind of sad that it didn't do well, because they had promised a lot more of that, which we're not going to get because of its financial failures. But yeah, I think as a game it was more interesting. But Blizzard, I don't know who it is on their marketing team. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's Chris Metzen, I think is the guy's name, who does all the concept images and stuff. Just figures out, okay, what does literally everyone want? And then they put that into, whether it's a shooter, an RPG, or whatever else. Like, I can't think of another company who has consistently put out multi-million-dollar hit after multi-million-dollar hit.
Like, they are, like, as a company, they are fucking rolling in it.
Yeah.
Like, they got, like, one, like, I guess the biggest card game, on computer.
The biggest card game, the biggest MMO.
So they're like, the amount of revenue they must be making off fucking Hearthstone.
Yeah.
They got the biggest MMO that has millions of subscribers that they're still getting like $15 a month for.
Yeah, and they were like, oh yeah, we've dropped down to 8 million subscribers. Yeah. It's like, well, fuck me, buddy. That means that you're making a minimum of 100 million a month. There's no way it costs you that much to run the servers.
No. And then you got Overwatch with people buying skins and shit all the time, because there are constantly new skins out, and those skins look sick though.
They do. They do. Well, the thing is, part of it is they do everything well.
Yeah.
They don't dump... like, EA has all these big franchises, and they constantly dump shit on us.
Yeah.
Right? Blizzard, on the other hand, everything they put out, even if it's not to my taste, is at least a solid
still,
game.
Yeah, it's
like,
still
Overwatch, I don't like, but it's for what it is, it's really good at it. Hearthstone's same thing. I fucking hate Hearthstone. Part of it's because I grew up on Magic the Gathering and other actual card games, and Hearthstone as an actual game fucking sucks. But again, anyone can hop in and have a blast at that game.
I've been thinking about getting it on my new phone,
Right.
like, since I have space again. So
Right, and it is good for what it is. I hate that simplistic mechanic where you're getting one more power every turn and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? For what it is, it's fucking good. And I don't know how they managed to do that.
Yeah.
They've never released anything where I've been like, oh, that's shit.
like even Heroes of the Storm, it's not the biggest MOBA, but it's definitely not dead.
It's it's well done. Well, the thing is again, that one's a little different, and I think the problem with that is that Blizzard doesn't normally play catch up.
No.
Right? I find what they do well is they set the trend, right? Diablo set trends. Diablo 2, Diablo 3, same thing. They basically popularized the real-time strategy. Yes, I know there were other real-time strategy games. Other ones came first, and there have been better ones. But real-time strategy became popular because of Warcraft 2, for the most part. Mm-hmm. MMOs. Yes. Well, actually, I don't even think there's ever been a bigger one since. They basically popularized the idea of an MMO to a mainstream gaming audience. So they set those. You know what I mean? Heroes of the Storm, they were following. You know what I mean? They said, okay, the MOBA's getting big, we got to get in on it. And it's actually kind of sad since MOBA was invented as a custom map for Warcraft 3. Like, that's where the whole genre originated. So, it's kind of ironic that that's the one genre if they don't have a game on top of.
Yeah, like, I feel like if they had seen the potential in it at the time, and they had created something before Riot, or before, I don't know, Dota, I guess, Steam does Dota now, or...
I don't know who owns that.
I fucking hate
I don't play either of them either, yeah.
I like the Warcraft 3 mod. I've never really... I've played a little bit of them.
Speaking of which, too, the tower defense genre became a thing out of a Warcraft 3 mod as well.
Honestly, that's all I used to play. Like, I played a little bit of actual Warcraft 3, but I used to play tower defense. I love tower defense.
Same. I got into Warcraft 3 hardcore, tried to get really high and competitive, and then I started playing custom tower defense maps, and I stopped fucking playing everything else.
That's all I do is either... I do like Marine Arena a lot, and that was like one of my ones are just like the mass all kind of games, or tower defense. I love tower defense.
I love tower defense.
But no, like I feel like they had to just kind of put more work into it years ago, but I guess they didn't really see it at the time, or they must not have thought it was going to be as big as it is now.
Yeah, or they might have just because again, right? They didn't really do tower defense, and that was a huge thing at the time.
Yeah.
I would love to see an actually official Blizzard-made tower defense game. I think that'd be a fucking blast.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think it would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know.
I want to see if there's any good tower defense games out.
Go to congregate.com. It's like a free Flash game site.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of really good ones on there. Like, really good ones. I've played them all pretty much. Haven't been on there in probably about a year. I used to play at Congregate a lot. But they are fantastic for, like, it's a great, all the good Flash games usually end up there, but most of the best tower defense games are not actually, like, on Steam. They're just free Flash games, all the best ones. So go on there and look in there, just go to, like, tower defense and then, like, do the top star rated ones, and there'll be 5 or 6 pages worth of, so you pick whichever ones look interesting to you.
Yeah, but no, back to shooters again.
Back to shooters.
We got on the... I'm really not too into the what's become of the hero shooter genre.
No, I'm not.
Not really into the battle royale in the shooter genre.
Well, let's be realistic for a second there, though. There hasn't really been a shooter battle royale. Those ones, the main ones that are popular now, have grown out of survival games, not shooter games.
That's true.
I am actually quite interested to see how Battlefield does theirs. Because that will be...
It will actually have decent shooting in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because that one's going to... These ones grew out of survival games. And there are hundreds of unfinished survival games, and even PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which didn't come because what was it? Fortnite was originally just a survival game, period.
Yeah.
But PlayerUnknown didn't come out of that, but it doesn't play like a shooter. It plays like what the hell's the Arma Z mod, kind of DayZ kind of thing, more where it's not about the shooting, it was more survival based. I want to see a proper shooter done into that, because it's not as if shooter games haven't kind of done that already, just usually it was, okay, everyone fights and there's one winner. I like the idea of having a game with good guns and, balanced weaponry and all that. Okay, now let's throw that into a map that people have to find and see.
And I always found, so like with Battlefield though, like that's probably one of the only shooters I actually play. But with Battlefield, I play it for a little bit and then I'm kind of just done with it.
Yeah,
like I can't really play Battlefield like all the time like I do with Siege. Like it's just like doing I'll do an operation and then it's like, okay, I'm good for a while.
I used to do that on Battlefield with Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. Those I played excessively. Now, mind you, I also played those. This was before I was big into PC. I played them on PlayStation 3, and they were good. I loved them, and I could play those tons and tons. The newer ones, though, I tend to.
Battlefield 1, I can't play that for that long.
No, it is actually a really solid game. I like it. But
Battlefield 4, I could. Yeah. I could play that for all day.
Battlefield 4 was really just Battlefield 3 with more shit. I mean, they ended up putting 90% of the good maps from 3 into 4 anyway. But, I think shooters, we're getting into that divide.
And I'm just so done with Call of Duty. That's just a microtransaction mess now.
Same thing. It's just like frickin' Battlefield, Star Wars Battlefront, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think the problem is that the big companies that you would expect to make a good shooter are too focused on... They don't want to do... I understand, yes, you have to innovate business models, but just selling a bunch of copies of a game will make you a shit ton of money, right? So why not go back to that instead of saying, okay, we got to put the game out, and then we got to make people buy shit in it, and we have to design the game in such a way that directs people to do that. Like, good games, like you're mentioning with Siege, right? You don't buy in-game advantages. You buy cool shit.
Yeah, you can buy skins, and for the most part, you can buy them with renown in game, and you really don't have as long as you buy the game, you really don't have to buy the season's pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the season pass for that game, it's like $40 for the year. You get
it gives you all the operators.
You get all the operators, and you get them a week early, and then you get like a discount in the store for renown. So if you want to buy a skin for someone, you get a discount on it. But there's really...
But you don't need it you just buy the game and you enjoy the game.
If you play the game enough, I have 140k renowned.
Yeah.
I could probably not buy the next season pass and be able to afford most of the operators.
Yeah. So, but the point is, you don't
but
even...
I'm saving up for 180k so I can buy 50 alpha packs.
Oh, there you go.
Or I might spend 90 of it to get the Diamond Universal skin.
There you go.
But there's things there's a lot of stuff you can buy with it.
Yeah.
And,
but more to the point is that it's not just about that. The game is fun on its own, right?
Yeah, the game's fun on its own. Having all these operators, all the new operators come out, changes the meta, and it makes it really fun, and just kind of changes up the combos and things you can do. And they've been revamping some of the maps and adding new maps, and that one's fine for season pass. But whereas Call of Duty and Battlefield games that are only really they're only a year worth of a game.
Yeah.
Buying the season pass for those games and spending $160, $170 now for the full experience of a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Just so you get a bunch of...
And the game is missing without it. And that's what the difference is that if you buy Call of Duty now and you don't buy a season's pass, you are missing out on a big chunk of the game.
Oh yeah, because they barely release any maps anymore.
Right. And if you play something like Star Wars Battlefront and you don't buy the mic... Now, I know they've said they're fixing it and all that, but going into it, if you didn't buy the microtransactions, you're not going to have as much fun in the game.
Yeah.
The game becomes enjoyable only when you spend a bunch of extra money on it. Whereas... And that seems to be the AAA way. And you get some indies that pop up, again, that make cool-looking... games, but then, they tend to die very quickly. Player base doesn't last very long.
Well,
there tend to be very few in the way of updates, etc. So I wish we'd go back to a point where there was kind of a middle ground, where there'd just be some solid shooters released, where the game itself is the fun part. It's, not about buying the microtransactions or whatever. Don't get me wrong. I like...
Make your games so they can last for a couple years.
Yeah, if you're going to make a game, like a Call of Duty or something, where there's going to be expansions, I'm okay with that. But make it much like they've done with Siege, where it is a continuous experience, where I don't say, you know what, I spent $60 or $80 on this game, and now, 2 years later, I have to go buy a new game because no one is playing this one anymore.
There's more people playing Siege now than there ever has been, and because of the promises the developers made, how they want to get to 100 operators, and they want to support the game for 10 years, which they can do with updates, is I'm more inclined to buy their microtransactions
because you're not going to waste them.
Okay, yeah. So I'll have this for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm enjoying the game still. They're improving upon the game.
Yeah.
I feel fine spending the money. When whereas in Call of Duty, it's well, that helmet's cool, but I don't want to spend money on it because it's gonna be gone in a year.
Yeah, or it's I'm gonna buy these maps, and then 3 months later, the next game is gonna come out, and no one's playing this month. Whereas with this, you buy an operator now, and let's say you spent real money on that operator. Yeah, maybe they're not exactly where they used to be in the meta, but if you bought an operator in 2016 was the game released? 2015. You can still use that operator in 2018, and you spent, and even let's say, I bought it, I dropped out of the game for a year, I come back, here's that stuff I paid for, is still just as useful.
And look at all the cool new skins that I can buy with Renown, or you can always use the Ubi Bucks, we call them.
Yeah, the Ubi Bucks.
Yeah, but no, it's a very good model that they have for it. I feel like Battlefield's kind of figuring it out with the new one, where they're not going to have the premium pass for map expansions, because all it does is split your community.
Yeah.
And then you're eventually just going to get sick of playing, because I think they would just expect you to get sick of playing the maps, and it's you know what, fuck it, I'm done with the game. I don't want to spend the money on a couple more maps, and then it just
it's the game people get tired of, not the maps. No one says, you know what, think of fucking Counter-Strike Go. Yeah. Okay, there's more maps. Sorry, everyone plays Dust 2. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
That's it. It's one map, basically. PUBG, how long was it before they included a fucking second map?
Yeah. Right?
It's not... People will get tired of the game. If they're already tired of the game, they're not going to spend money on new maps. Mm-hmm. So instead, think of ways to keep the game going. Now, that's a bit of an interesting segue, based on what we were talking about at E3. They mentioned with Anthem that they had kind of plans to integrate that into it, how they could continue to add to the game after release.
But
what
Destiny
do you think about...
kind of said the same shit. Destiny's this is going to be our 10-year experience, and we're going to add it. And it's
but then they blatantly lied.
Well, yeah, and their map was shitty, and it sucked, and they made... if they had just made the game for modern systems and not put it on 360 and PS3, they would have got more time out of it. But none of these companies... I don't know, I feel like Ubisoft's just doing a good job as a company, because, all the games, even For Honor, it didn't really do well, but now it's doing a lot better. I'm sure the player base is bigger than it was at launch, maybe. But for Siege, I definitely know what it is. They're supporting it. They have money in the Pro League. Yeah. Pro League's going strong. It's turning into a bigger game than it ever
I think they seem to have nailed the concept of a long-term support for it, and I hope more companies follow that. Like I said, I'm hopeful for Anthem in that they actually follow that kind of thing, and they don't go the Destiny way. I like the fact that with Siege, I can hop in, I can buy the base game.
Yeah.
And I could just...
Well, you could even buy the starter edition.
Yes.
Whereas you get basically no one.
Yeah.
And then you just have... It takes a lot longer to work out for it, but you get the game for $15.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't.
No, I'm not going to do that. But again, I'm going to buy into the game, and I can immediately enjoy everything that game has to offer. Now,
you get all the maps. You get all the maps, and you'll get all the original base operators.
And I never have to worry about being Gapper's bought the Season 4 Season Pass. I can't play on maps where his operators are. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Destiny thing was fucking ridiculous, where they actually took shit out of the base game.
Yeah.
Like that's going so far in the opposite. So so you have to buy a new expansion, or not only can you not get to the expansion, but stuff you had before is now locked behind the expansion.
You can't do Nightfalls anymore because you didn't buy the season pass.
That was ridiculous. I think.
Oh my god!
I think they're a good example of how not to do it, because the thing was, the game actually wasn't too bad. I liked the first Destiny.
It's a solid shooter.
Yeah.
It's a good, they're good games, but then they just
the business
do
model was
shitty
just
business
so
model
awful.
stuff, and it's like
the second one
and
turned into way
repetitive.
too much of a fucking repetitive grind fest.
Too repetitive.
And I think that's I think it's like I said,
they put so many restrictions on the game. Yeah. Like WoW does that, but WoW has so much content.
Yeah.
That if you have a 3-day cooldown on a dungeon or a raid, that's fine. But
there's other things to occupy you for 3 days.
Like Destiny's is basically like, and I guess Destiny does it so it's slow. Like they slow you down enough so that you don't blast through the game in a couple days. Yeah. But you're still gonna blast through the game in like maybe 2 weeks. Like 3 weeks, you're probably powered up. You've done the raid a couple times. But I wish they could just do the game. Let me play the game. Let me run it. Get all my let me get my gear. But they don't have enough content. Like they don't have enough content in their base game.
And
they overcharge you to get more content, and then fuck up the whole player base by trying to add more content. And they just, I don't know. It just seems like they don't know how to make that. Like, they do probably know how to make that game, but they're trying to nickel and dime everyone for that experience that it just doesn't work.
Well, and that's the thing with WoW, right? Think about it. It's still got people paying them money per month. They have now 12 years of content, something like that.
It's been a while.
It's more than 10. I'm pretty sure.
I think I was playing like 2004. It's been
so almost 15 years of content, right? So when you have 15 years of content, you can slap a 3-day cooldown on a dungeon because there's other shit to do. If the only thing people are logging in for, like I remember the first Destiny with the weekly raids and shit, right? It's like people are only logging in to play those raids now. You know what I mean? So you have to, if you're going to put a week-long cooldown on those raids...
like, after the whole, so when I bought the game, after the first week, all I can basically do is raid to get better. That's it.
Yeah. So I think they really do need to look at, again, yes, it's now players versus environment, not just player versus player, but they need to look at the Siege model and say, look, this is, because again, it's successful. It's making the money, right? So it's not just saying, okay, look, they've kept it going out of pity or something. They could have canned this game at any time when it was not doing so well.
If you look at the dips in their chart, most companies at their first dip, you know what? Fuck this game.
We're not running the servers anymore. It's done. I think games need to look at that model and say, okay.
And you can kind of see that with the first year's DLC. It's like it's kind of like, but then all of a sudden now it's just like production value's gone up. Like everything's doing really well.
And I could even see how they could integrate that. Like, let's just use Destiny as an example because it's already out. It would have been really easy to say, okay, when you buy the DLC, you get new map areas that you can get into in the game. You get new raids you can do, and you get new equipment. But everything else is still, you can still integrate together. So there's no reason why you can't play with the pre-existing stuff, and then add a bunch of new stuff for the pre-existing game while you're at it. Say, okay, look, you know what? Here's this new map. There's 3 other new maps or areas. You can't get into them without the
I almost think,
expansion.
Though, with Destiny...
Yeah. I think, honestly, it's just fuck that into the ground and forget about it.
Yeah, or I almost feel like a subscription model works better for that game, because then everyone has access to everything. Everyone's getting the content, and then if you don't want to pay, like, if you want to play for that month, you pay your, I don't know, make it something like small, like or $5-10 a month, like,
or go to the planet side model where everything's in the game. You can grind it out slow as fucking ass if you want, or you can buy it. You know what I mean? Like,
just, I don't know, like for a game like that, splitting your community with like paid DLC is just not. It's not great for the community, and it's not great for the game.
What would make more sense to me is have access to it be something that's grindable, but that you can speed up by payments.
Yeah.
So say, okay, you know what? You want to get into this new area? Fine. You have to collect 3,000 bear asses or bear flanks or whatever, right? Or you can spend $20 for 3,000 things, and congratulations, you've got this new area, this new raid. Oh, you want to get into raid number 16? Well, you have to do raid number 12 200 times to get the orb each time, or you know what I mean? So that,
I just don't. You know what? I honestly just don't think that game can just have enough content to be a game that lasts that long.
The problem with the way they're doing it is again, Warcraft, or not Warcraft, World of Warcraft can get away with it because, again, they built that content over a huge amount of time. It's not just jumping into it, because any new game is going to be limited in content. And that's why I said I'm kind of interested to see what they do with Anthem, because it sounds like they're looking to adopt that model. There's a base game, we can add to it as we go. There's got to be some kind of money coming in to support that model, because sales after a certain point always taper, right?
Well, yeah, there's definitely going to be cosmetic options for your javelins. Like, that's going to be in there, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, if they can make a good game where I feel like it's going to be a game that's going to last for a while, and I want something cool for my javelin to look a little unique, I might do it.
Yeah, I'd throw money at cosmetic DLC.
Or if there's a way to just do it in-game, but it takes longer. I like that. I like having two currencies where one's basically the in-game currency that you can do most stuff. Yeah. Anything that's like, anything can be bought with real money as well, or there's like really cool super premium stuff that you have to use real money for. I'm fine with that. But because like the options there, but yeah, like if you don't put enough content out and then you have to make me spend like $40 more to finish the game that you should have completed and had content for originally. Yeah. Fuck you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Make a good game to start with.
But yeah.
But that's the thing though, like you said, is not everyone can be WoW off the bat, right? You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. And that's the tricky bit, is figuring out where it's going to go to. I think the key though is that big companies, I understand smaller companies, again, you've only got so much capital. Bigger companies need to let designers and stuff take a little more risk and support them beyond just, you didn't sell 1 million copies in your first week. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There needs to be some support that says, okay, well, we're going to give it 6 months, a year, and see if it picks up. And if it picks up, we're going to support it more. And then you get something like a Siege where, okay, the game is now making more money than it ever did before. It's got more players than before. People are, we've got continuous content releases that keep people coming back. Because I'll bet you most people buy the season pass.
When the new operators come out, play it for a little bit, take a break. Next operator's new map come out, or the map redesign. So like this content and upgrade of this season. So we got our 2 new Italian operators. We got a new map, and then we got a map redesign.
Okay.
So map redesign, weird. I'm still not used to it.
Fair enough.
But no, it's like it's a good way to do it. And like if you don't want the operators, you just don't buy them.
Yeah, well that's it. And then they can still sell copies of the game.
They do. I feel like I don't know if it's just like they don't understand how to. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of like doom cycle on the new operators.
Okay.
They'll come out and be really powerful. Although I feel like I haven't heard much of the new ones being super powerful. But kind of like Ella and Lion, some of the past operators that were released, they had to like nerf them into the ground after they came out.
Well, here's the thing though. I will say this. There is always going to be that, because there's only 2 options. You either release them underpowered so they don't disrupt the balance of the game, in which case you have to boost them later or no one buys them, in which case you get the power creep thing going on. Oh, we have to upgrade this guy's damage by 1% here, lower this too much, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
they've done a little bit of that, but for the most part, they'll put a new one out, they're like, this is kind of broken.
Yeah.
Like Lion broke the fucking game.
Yeah.
Like they had to really change him. So what his thing was is he has this like EED1 drone.
Yeah.
So you get a 3-second warning. And then after 3-second warnings, it's like another maybe 3 seconds of if you move, it highlights you through all the walls. So basically wall hacks for 3 seconds if you move. Yeah. So originally, if you moved for the rest of the timer, you're marked. Okay. Now, and he got to do it 3 times. Now it's only if you're moving, you're getting detected. So if you stop moving, and he only gets to do it twice.
There you go, and that makes sense. But kind of back to the cycle thing with that. If they release them slightly more on the power side, that does drive sales. So that's why you have to, if they go too far, then everyone buys them and then they nerf them into the ground. Mm-hmm. But there's always going to be a bit of that. They're not always purposely doing it to drive sales, because
they just don't know how people are going to use them.
Well, no matter how much you beta test or whatever, once you release it to a player base of 1 million players or whatever, people are going to react differently in ways you did not anticipate. So you might think, this is perfectly balanced. And then you realized, oh, no, you know what? Actually, it just fucks everyone else into the ground. So I understand, it's a sales tactic if you do it blatantly. Yeah. But it sounds like with Siege, they've been pretty they've done their best to balance it first.
They try.
For the most part.
It's not always the fastest to do it, but they're trying. And like I think for in Pro League, like I think defenders lost every time. Like it was always attackers winning after the last update.
And part of the problem is that people don't understand that balanced for pros is not the same as balanced
and that's
for
kind
casuals.
of been an issue lately. It's like, oh, like we saw in like this high level play that this gun's being used. It's like, okay, so you're gonna do that, and it's like I'm not playing the highest level. Like I'm probably kind of middle. Well,
you see with a lot of people too, because they don't understand, is that with shooters especially, there are certain weapons which are there's a very low floor and high ceiling and skill based. So a lot of people will say that maybe a weapon that's middling, people will say, well, you know what? In the casual players will say this weapon is overpowered because it's really easy to use, right? In the Pro League, it may actually not be one of the better weapons because it's easy to use, but it's not as useful as a weapon, which is maybe harder to use, but for someone who plays 8 hours a day is really easy to get a handle on. For someone who plays 2 hours a week, can't. And I actually think, and this is my personal opinion, there should be two sets of balancing in games like that, where for Pro League stuff, or whatever you call it, any kind of elite league, they don't need to balance things the same as they do in a casual league. Mm-hmm. Because certain weapons, techniques, tactics, special abilities, regardless of what game we're talking about, they're only useful to people who have time to play. Your classic example would be like your sniper weapons in Call of Duty, right? You got guys who can jump up 360 no scope and stuff, no problem. And other people are like, well, fucking sniper rifles are useless. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to use a submachine gun, right? So I think that in a game like that, it's perfectly fine to actually balance things slightly, and you shouldn't fuck the 1 million casual players over because the 300 pro players found some kind of way to exploit a weapon. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Again, I don't know how these dynamics work from the top level down.
Well, now if Activision gets what they want, when you get killed by a guy with a sniper rifle, you're going to get a big blaring ad for buy the sniper rifle package. Did you see? I think I've told you about that before, but
no,
you remember that? So they have a patent in there for matchmaking's dead now. Yeah. Like, there's no such thing as matchmaking in the future. You're just going to get put, again, it's going to be like World of Tanks, basically. Did you ever play World of Tanks?
Yes, I played World of fucking Tanks.
So in World of Tanks, once you get to a certain level, you're always just playing against tanks that are 2 levels higher than you.
Yes.
So that you don't do anything. You're basically just there to die.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what Call of Duty is going to become, is that the low skill players are going to get put against in what the way they call it marquee players, and then you'll get killed by a gun. Then they'll give you an ad for that gun and the sniper.
Oh yeah, I read about that where there's they have a patent for that thing, which I think that would kill the series dead into the ground, because again, these are one of these things where they need to understand that there are things where you can say, look, this might make a bunch of money when we try it, and then you have now sacrificed that series.
Okay, yeah, matchmaking's dead, and I'm just getting stomped all the time. I'm not going to spend money on your game. Bye.
Yeah, I think sometimes I understand the goal of a corporation is to make money. And a company that makes games is no different than any other company. But there's also this understanding that the purpose of players is not to give you money. It's to have fun. Mm-hmm. And if you put things into the game that make it not fun so that you can make more money, they will take their money somewhere else. And yes, you might come out with a game that has tons of EA EA has literally, I think, hit that wall at this point where they understand that, okay, some fucking indie game based on 1920s cartoons outsold their fucking Star Wars AAA first-person shooter. And I think then they realized, oh shit, this is not right. And so I think they had that, we'll call it a come to Jesus moment. And again, I have to wait them see it put into action, but half their fucking people were apologizing. Every time they came, we're sorry, we're not going to do this anymore. All the puff-ups were no loot boxes, none of this.
But this, they have airdrops. They're going to be fucking loot boxes. They're just called a different thing.
Right, but that's where we have to see where, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
I fucking trust them.
Right, I agree. But what my point is that they at least realize the problem. Whether they're actually going to fix the problem, different story.
Yeah,
but
they know what they did. And
they know you know what you did.
They know what they did, and they knew what they were doing from the start.
Right.
They just didn't think people would complain about it.
Right.
And I'm glad people did. Like, I didn't buy that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like in most of those games, like normally until Siege, I don't think I ever really spent money on microtransactions.
Trying to think of a
like
game.
in World of Tanks, I never spent a goddamn dime on that game because that game is fucking retarded. And I don't want to get put into a place where it's like when I saw people firing money at me. Like when someone would be shooting at me with premium ammunition, I'm like, wow, you're a loser. Like, it's like, oh wow, cool. Like you're just paying money to shoot at me and kill me, and I just laughed at it. I'm like, all right, whatever, fuck it. I'll go to like the 1-star tier where I can actually kill things and then have fun.
And it's honestly sad because I actually really like.
It's a good game. It's a really good game. But like once you get above rank 5.
Well, anything up to until you get to tier 10 and there's no tier higher than you, like. And at that point, like most people, I actually know a couple of people, it's how I got into it, who are very hardcore in World of Tanks. They basically say this. They say, grind your way to tier 10, or buy a premium tier 10 tank, just one tank, and then just play with that tank. Don't buy the premium ammo, all the other stuff, and just play at tier 10 with that tier 10 tank, and you will enjoy it. And they say, but like, it is. The middle of it is awful.
As soon as I hit 5 or 6, no, I think I got to like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And then once you're 6 playing against like 8s and 9s, you're like, can't do a goddamn thing.
No, you can't do a thing. So,
the middle of that game is rough.
Yeah, that game lost me for that same thing, which is sad because, like I said, it's just fun if you like fucking tanks.
It's a really
good tank game. I would love for someone to just make a single player game that is just like that game, but like a campaign. Like with those because the controls are fun.
Oh, it handles well.
Yeah, like it's you feel like
I love maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll get it back into it.
I'm not
try to grind it out. But you know what? I don't really have time to grind.
That's the same thing. I can't play games anymore. Oh yeah, it gets fun at the end game. I'm sorry, I can't play.
I can't play for 3 years to get there.
Yeah, even if it's just something like it's like okay, well, what was it once my friend was playing me? This was a few years back. I think it was Dark Age of Camelot was the game he was trying to get me into. He's like, oh yeah, we'll play it. We'll grind you out for a weekend, and you'll be. I'm like, guys, I don't want to fucking waste a weekend. If the game doesn't have to be fun the first 5 minutes because sometimes you got to learn controls and stuff like that. But like, if a game isn't interesting me within an hour, I'm not playing it anymore. Especially because Steam refunds are 2 hours.
Yeah.
But even that aside, like if the game has not got my interest by then, it's not going to. You know, Final Fantasy 13. They're like, oh yeah, the game gets fun 20 hours in. Well, fuck, like, why didn't I just start there? But, so
And that's, like, weird, though, like, in those, like, what was the thing I heard about? The tutorial for Metal Gear Survival, or whatever it is, was, like, 10 hours long. Or something, and it's like, this game's shit, so...
Yeah. Speaking of which, still don't know what the fuck Death Stranding is.
Yeah. Still haven't figured it out. We've had weeks to think about it.
Yeah. I've pondered. I mean, it's either the world's most boring delivery game.
It's not even a real game.
Yeah.
That's my take. That's my hot take.
I'm still on the it's an elaborate joke by Hideo Kojima, who's gotten like some of his friends like Norman Reedus and stuff be like, yeah, come out for this weekend, we're gonna film some fucking motion capture and put out a trailer.
Yeah, we're gonna make a trailer. Yeah. We're just gonna make a trailer every year until I die. Like, and just fuck with the whole fucking gaming community.
Like, I wish you could, like, buy stock in, like, Kojima Productions.
It's not a real company.
Yeah. Well, no.
It's a pump and dump. It's just a big pump and dump.
I was going to say, like, I actually think it's real, and, like, all it is, like, at the investors' meetings, he comes up and he's like, he's like, there's no fucking game coming out, but we're going to take pre-orders, and you're going to get all your money back. Yeah. And it's going to be, like, a 2-minute thing of, like, Norman Reedus climbing up a mountain. Yeah. And then it shows all the cutscenes we put in all the trailers in a row, and that's the end.
And it's just like, lol,
and it's going to be like, and it takes exactly 2 hours and 2 minutes to go through the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's time gates that won't let you through unless
no, it's just 2 hours and 2 minutes of cutscenes, and then you get to climb a mountain.
Yeah.
Anyway, now I'm actually sure it'll actually be an amazing game when it comes out, because I've never been a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid sometimes, but the thing is, Kojima has always done interesting stuff. You know, even if it's never been my cup of tea, it's always fucking like, wow, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up at the hour and a half mark, and I think we're just kind of rambling.
We're just rambling at this point.
Actually, not that we haven't rambled for probably 45 minutes out of this, but I think this is probably a good point to call it. I think we should try and cut it at an hour and a half if we're not going for something specific.
Sure.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. Well, so we have the the official Nothing Special, but mostly Rainbow Six Siege rambles.
The Nothing Special.
Nothing Special. If you're still with us and you've been listening to our rambling at this point, thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening. I'm surprised.
I'm a little surprised too at this point. I would have cut out probably a half hour ago, but here you are and here we are. So I've been your host, Victor von Fragenstein.
And I'm Gabber.
And hopefully we'll catch you all next time.